Since the late 1700s, Schafkopf, or Sheepshead, has been driving Germans all over Europe absolutely crazy. Whether it is played with real money or points, millions of Germans and Austrians just can't get enough of it. In Germany, people host Schafkopf games at home, in bars, or online. And you know what they say, a million people can't be wrong. So let's get right into it. Are you ready? So let's start by getting familiar with the cards. Schafkopf cards have 4 different suits: a corn or green, 8 cards, blue or grass, 8 cards, heart, 8 cards, and shell or bells, 8 cards. Altogether, we'll be playing with 32 cards. So as you can see here, the lowest card in a Schafkopf deck is a 7. There are no 2s, no 3s, no 4s, no 5s, and no 6s. Also, you can see that the Queen card, as one might call it, has an O, and the Jack card has a U. These are the overs and the unders, and they are really great cards to have. Now to help me show you how Schafkopf is played, I have invited 3 of my card friends. Billy,
Servus.
Rocky,
What up?
and Tom.
Servusle.
So Schafkopf is played by only 4 players. Each player sits on one side of the table. One player will start with a starter button. That means that this player will be dealt first and will start the action. After every game, the start button will move to the next player in sitting position, and so on, and so on. Each player is then dealt 4 cards, starting from Billy, and then 4 additional cards. And now, each player has a total of 8 cards. The target of the game is to collect points, or eyes. There is a total of 120 points available in a single game. You can collect points by winning the trick. The trick will go to the player who laid down the strongest card. There are 8 tricks in a game, and at the end of the game, the player or the pair that has collected a total of over 60 points wins. So what is the point value of each card? Let's take a look. Each ace collected is worth 11 points. Each 10 collected is worth 10 points. Each king, 4 points. each over 3 points, each under 2 points. 7s, 8s, and 9s are all worth 0. Altogether, 120 points. Now, just because the ace card is worth the highest in points does not mean it will win every trick. What I mean is that these points are only added up at the end of the game to determine the winner. The cards in play value to determine which player wins the trick is different. Let's take a look at this chart. So in each Schafkopf game, there are the regular cards and the trump cards. Within the regular cards, 7 is the weakest and ace is the strongest. Now note that the king is weaker than the 10 in play. For example, in this trick, the 10 blue beats the king blue and takes down the trick. Let's pause for a second to remember that. 10s, beat 10s, kings. Back to the chart. So among the trump cards, the over a corn is the strongest card. This card will take down any trick. The over blue is also a very strong card, but if it will meet the over a corn in a trick, the over blue will be beaten and lose a trick. Trump cards consists of the 4 over cards, then the 4 under cards, and then the hearts. In total, there are 14 trump cards. The 7 of heart is the weakest trump card, but will take down any trick that has 3 regular cards. The trump cards are stronger cards and can beat every regular card in a trick. So in every trick, the player who starts can lay down any card they want. And when they do, the rule goes as follows. When a player starts a trick with a regular card, every player must also lay down that same suit regular card. And that is, of course, if they are holding one. Only when they are not holding that same suit regular card, they can then lay down any card they wish. It could be a different suit regular card, or it could be a trump card to help win the trick and the points. Come on, Billy. I know you got a shell for me. Danke. Let's rewind back a little bit and pause. So the trick started with a shell. Now, in this situation, I don't have to throw this over shell card here. A same suit trump card is considered a trump card, not a regular card. The over shell is a trump card. I don't have any shells. Now, if a player starts the trick with a trump, like I am doing right now, every player must lay down a trump card if they are holding one. And again, just like before, only if the player doesn't have a trump card, they can then lay down any card they wish. Okay, Tom is out of trump cards.
Es gibt's doch nicht.
If there are 2 or more trumps in a trick, the player who laid down the strongest trump takes down the trick. If there are no trumps in a trick, the strongest card with the same suit of the card starting the trick will take down the trick. Here, the 10 shell does not come into play. A different suit regular card cannot win a trick. Ever. The king of corn is the strongest card, and therefore, Rocky will take down the trick. After your hand has been dealt and you got your 8 cards, the recommended way of arranging your hand is to have all the trump cards on the left arranged from strongest to weakest. The regular cards will all be on the right. The acorns, then the blues, and then the shells, also from strongest to weakest. So now that we learned the basics, let's start playing. Billy has a start button. Now, in a live game, the player sitting before the starting player is the dealer. So as the dealer, I will be shuffling the cards. Then I will let the player before the dealer, Tom, cut the cards, and then deal the first 4 cards to Billy, and on we go. After the cards have been dealt, each player can now look at their cards. Then, each player, starting from Billy, who has the start button, will decide if they wish to announce a game or pass the decision to the next player. There are 3 different games a player can announce to play. A calling game, 20 cents. A Vens, 50 cents. Or a suit solo, 50 cents. So if there is only one player in the announcing round that wants to play, and all the other players pass the action, then that player will get to decide the game. If there are 2 or more players who wants to announce a game, the decision will go to the player who wants to announce the higher ranked game. The other player will then have an option to play a higher ranked game or pass. If 2 or more players want to announce the same game, the advantage will go to the starting player or the closest player in sitting position to the starting player. The other player can then choose to play a higher ranked game or pass. And last, if no one wishes to announce a game, a new round will be started and the start button will move to the next player in sitting position.